3 and 4 to the newest of the new user kind of thing is journaling. All journaling means is before something is written to disk, it is cached. So hypothetically, if it's in the middle of a disk write, power outage or something, your hard drive, your partition is not corrupt. Once you boot back up, it will look at that cache where it was first cached before it was written, see if it's completed. If not, it will redo it over again. ext2 has no journaling whatsoever. ext3 has journaling. ext4 has good journaling. So that's really the main fallbacks. And I'll say if you have an SSD drive, you don't want to use ext4 because of the advanced journaling means there's a lot of writes to it, and SSDs only take so many writes. I'll say what I do, Jeff. The only partition I really care about the format is my root. What I typically do is I make three partitions for each thing I install. Swap, root of only at the most 20 gigs, and then my home partition. Swap, you can have the one same swap partition for all of your Linuxes. They'll all use the exact same swap partition, so you only need that once. Root is where I do my ext4. And then on my home, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but to me, that's not as important.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on there. Now, how he laid it out, of course, it's a Windows system. And I had my own laptop. You want to get your Windows partition in there first, because Windows, of course, doesn't play well with Grub. And then the example we talked about, which 20 gig partition, I'm going to have 3 different Linux on here. And I'll have one, a stable one. It'll either be Mint or Podnutz. I'm really liking Podnutz again because 1010 just reaches out to me, and Cinnamon runs great on it. And then second partition, say OpenSUSE or Solus OS in there. And then your third partition, your swap file. And then what's left is your home partition. And the key thing he pointed out was naming those partitions. I've already overwritten one, fooling around with this, installing it. Which one did I use? Partition 6, partition 7. So good thing I haven't done anything right now but set it up. But he went into some detail explaining it. And that's exactly, I've talked to you before, Dor, about that. You told me the same thing you did. But I never thought of it about the shared home, setting the shared home for basically the rest of it.
Yeah, you can do that too. Only minimal issues are possible, I'll say, if you have the same home partition for all of the Linuxes. One might be using GNOME 3.1, the other one might be using GNOME 3.2, and one of the config files might not work right together. But I'll say I've ran 3 at the same time on one computer, and I didn't experience any issues, but it's possible. So I would say, number one, for people out there, make sure you don't do this on a production machine that you need up all the time. For that kind of box, you want to make sure you have separate partitions for all your stuff.
Yeah, no, that's true. And we talked about also with the fact, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, when you start out with a system like this, like mine was a Windows, it's by HP. I got 4 primary partitions already set up, so I have no choice but back it up and blow out some of those primary partitions because you can't install additional, you can't install Linux on it because you can only allow 4 primaries.
Yeah, that's when you got to get to extended partitions, which to the normal Windows person, you never run into this issue because you just put a disk in, hit install, and it works.
Right.
Basically, you can only have a limited number of main partitions on your hard drive. Extended partition is really nothing more than a container. So you have your 3 partitions and then this container, and then in that container, you can have multiple partitions. It's kind of hard to explain.
You did okay.
Yeah. Now, there was a lot of Apple products there. I saw 3, 4 Apple MacBook Pros. Of course, they were all running Fedora, every one of them. So I was really surprised. There were more Apple laptops than there were Dells or HPs.
Really? There was more Apple?
Yes.
Interesting.
Even the guy from Linux Professional Institute was there, and he said that, and he had one MacBook Pro running. I was talking to him quite a bit, and yeah, there was quite a few of them that set that standard.
Interesting.
Vendors, an interesting vendor hall. Went through, talked to there, got free discs, ESD, and there was some tooling vendors. They had their there was a tool company, and the it was Zorro Tool was the name of the place, and they had um, their Linux programmer for their point of sale and their web in implementations there. And of course, they had geeky tools, network testing tools, and lights, LED lights, and things of this nature. But very interesting talking to them, real world experience and examples, kind of walking through there and seeing how they do things, and very informative.
Huh. How many people would you say were there? Do you have a number?
Well, as I was kind of watching how people were coming and going, I thought there was some people maybe going through the morning and then leaving and then coming back. My guesstimate was one of the sessions had 50 people, one had 30, and one had 4. So I'm saying it was about 150 is
Gotcha.
what they had.
Gotcha.
But for 150 people, he had 4 main sessions running at the same time, and of course, that was a lot. I mean, they did a lot of work.
Well, to me, the best thing I can take away from that is that just means after the talk, you'll have a better chance of getting individual talk time with the presenter.
Exactly. That's what I did with Don Vosberg. Went over and asked him just a bunch more questions, and he gave me a few tips, especially like something I'm interested in. Since I run Windows 2003 server, there's a distributed file system, DFS, that shares files, and you can run this in Samba. So now my Linux server can move in and take the place of just a Windows 2003 server. And,
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. At my work, I hear it. I have no idea what that even means. DFS error. We got to put in the DFS. Oh, the DFS has errors. We got to rebuild the DFS. What the hell to DFS?
Well, in my situation, I've got 3 servers. Okay, and server 1 is Earth. They're named after planets, let's say. So server 1's Earth. Everyone saves their files to a group drive, call it G drive. So accounting's got their folder, and what happens is when accounting saves their file to Earth, it's instantly copied to Pluto and to Neptune, 2 other servers, and they actually have copies. It instantaneously copies it. So suddenly, boom, the hard drive goes out on Earth. All I got to do is go to people and just map them to the other planet, the other drives, because their files are saved instantaneously. So by being distributed, they're shared back and forth. Now, Samba can do this and can share. You've got to do some programming. He talked to him about a link, and it's in the Samba man file. But basically, it's host msdfs equals yes. You just kind of add this to the config, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines is all I've got to add, and I can run it on my FTP server that's running Linux. And so it'll instantaneously replicate and copy back and forth. And the thing with Microsoft that's interesting, I haven't seen this yet, is let's say that first server goes down and you only have access to engineering. And I just move you over to the other server. Your rights are already there, same security. In my corporate world, that's kind of big. You don't want anybody looking around payroll records or fooling around with engineering drawings, and only the engineers can see that. We keep production out of that, so it's nice to separate that, and it looks like I can do that with free and open source, basically Linux.
Neat.
Yeah, so this is like mirroring, but I guess better.
Yeah, because it's across 2 physical boxes. It's not just mirroring there. It's down, boom, I can just go over here. And we've done DFS. Well, actually, I'm running off server 2003, and I have about 200 gigabyte that it's running DFS. And hard drive's down. It's pretty easy. Remap, send it out to everybody. Away we go, and we can replace the hard drive.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm thinking, or you could use like I don't want to say DNS aliasing, but you could just change like the DNS maybe, lie and cheat. Yeah,
as long as it's not a domain controller, you can do that.
Well, yeah, that is really cool. I mean, I know honestly, here's where my flaw is right now. I know it's possible to use Linux in home office, small business, enterprise, granddaddy size enterprise, all of them. but I don't have the actual hands-on experience. One of the things that I've learned is you can read, you can study, you can set up test stuff all day long. Unless you have the real physical hands-on experience, you kind of really don't get it. And that's why when Jeff mentions anything about the servers at his work kind of thing, I just perk up and just listen.
Well, I've had a real challenge, I'll tell you. I've tried to learn ClearOS, and there's one called Zenyal, Zenyal. Very similar. They run a small business server based on Linux. Now, Hacker Public Radio had something on it recently about Zenyal, and I've got them both installed, and I'm reading through the documentation because I figure this is something I can put into the workplace, and I'm in charge of IT, so I can just roll out those, and nobody will notice it. Yet we're going to save money because we're not going to have to buy any next upgrade.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you. A lot of people ClearOS used to be Clark Connect. A lot of people almost seem to be put off by it because it's RPM based. I'll put my hand up. I'm a little also turned off, and it's only because of past times getting burnt of RPM hell where stuff just breaks and all of a sudden something's not bootable. Zentel, I'll say, it seemed like a lot of their configuration was actually on the desktop and not through a web interface. That's the upfront difference I can say about those two. But I was honestly kind of impressed by Zentel. It seemed fairly smooth, but you already had to know what you want before you started it, though, I think.
Pretty much so. I mean, I would look through it, and you set up your users, and it sets their email up automatically. It gives each one of them 100 megabyte shares so that they have their own files. To me, it was slightly easier setting up than ClearOS, but the only reason is ClearOS's website is where all the documentation is. It's light green on a white background. Now, I got a headache trying to look at that. If it was, darker lettering, I could read it. And I had to print some of it, but I gave up because I couldn't read the documentation.
Damn, that's lame.
Well, that's their fault, not good. The only saving thing I can tell you is maybe Firefox with Grease Monkey. There's ways you can change default formatting on any website so it appears different. But, of course, that's work, and you shouldn't have to work just to learn and read. Interesting, though. I got to say, interesting.
Yeah, I basically shut it down, booted up Ubuntu, and went in to figure out how to set up SendMail and go from there. And we're trying that right. Because I'm going to replace my email server. I just haven't figured out how yet. But
okay, well, the best tip on Ubuntu. Oh God, I'm going to remember the name of this tool. Hold on. Ubuntu, SELTASK. Taskcell? No. Let's try TASKSEL. Yes. Sudo app install taskcell. TASKSEL. You can run it from the command line or from within Synaptic. Install packages by group identifier kind of thing. So you can literally pick web server or LAMP stack, and it will install Apache,
you guys
MySQL.
You guys are talking so over my head. I'm so lost right now. I just have to say. So you can carry on. I just wanted to tell them about that. And because here's one of the things, Jeff. In that there is a mail server thing. You just click one box and install it, and you have yourself a full-fledged mail server.
Hey, Steve. Now. I started out with just software I installed that I got from a guy in Britain, and suddenly this is great email service, and that's just read the manual, and that's how I ran through it. So, this is things people have talked about. I'm just trying. It's easy to break. I'm going to put knucklehead text quote up there. If you break it, you can understand better how to fix it. So I'm just trying to break some of the stuff. Is all I'm doing. And then when we get it up and running, we roll it out to everybody, because in the corporate world, when you roll something out like this, if it isn't perfect, they'll be skewering you real quick. So,
absolutely.
But I'll try Taskcell and look at that. Thanks, Dor.
I just say try it in a VM.